Every fall, before the first frost hits Lancaster County, an Amish household puts up somewhere between 200 and 400 cans. Not because something went wrong, not because a storm is coming, because that is what a practical family does in August, so that February takes care of itself. The USDA will tell you the same thing the Amish have known for 2 centuries. A properly sealed can has no expiration date. Best Buy is a quality suggestion, not a safety cutoff. Here are the 18 foods they put on those shelves. We'll start where the calories are. Canned whole chicken is the most underestimated item in any serious pantry, and the Amish have been pressure canning it for generations, for one simple reason: it works. You pressure the jar for 75 to 90 minutes minimum. The meat goes tender and shred ready, and when you open it 6 months later, you have a full protein meal requiring 0 cooking, 0 thawing, 0 prep. Keystone Meats makes the commercial version closest to what comes out of an Amish kitchen. No fillers, no added broth, no slurry, just chicken in a can. A single quart jar feeds 4 people a real dinner. Most families have tuna in the pantry and call it protein coverage. Tuna is a condiment. Canned whole chicken is a meal. Store it below 85 degrees Fahrenheit. Keep the seal intact, and the USDA will confirm it is safe indefinitely. The Amish don't argue with that. They just keep canning. Canned beef comes next, and the distinction from everything else in the protein aisle is that it's already cooked. Pressure canned beef cubes, what Keystone also sells as canned beef, come out of the can tender, already holding iron, zinc, and B12, ready to go directly into a stew, a pot pie, or a hash, with nothing between the can and the table except 10 minutes of heat. The Amish requirement here is non-negotiable and USDA-backed. Beef must be pressure canned, not water-bathed, because low-acid meats need 240 degrees Fahrenheit internal processing to be safe. The Amish practice has always matched that standard. That is not a coincidence. That is 200 years of knowing what you're doing. Pork is the most culturally rooted protein in the Amish pantry, and understanding why changes how you think about shelf-stable food entirely. An Amish family butchers 1 or 2 hogs in late fall. Nearly the entire animal gets canned immediately. Shoulders, loins, trimmed cuts, because there is no freezer, no cold storage, no margin for waste. Keystone Meats carries canned pork, but if you want the most direct line to this tradition, Yoder's Canned Pork out of Lancaster County is a family-operated operation that still does it the way the community taught them. 1 jar of canned pork dropped into a pot of beans turns a side dish into a full meal. Every bean entry coming later in this video gets better with this jar on the shelf beside it. Canned salmon surprises people, and it should. Most viewers expect to see tuna here. Salmon is more nutritious in almost every measurable way, and the thing people throw away is actually the feature. Canned wild salmon retains the bones. The canning process softens them completely. You don't chew bone, you just mash them in, and those bones deliver more calcium per serving than a glass of milk. Wild Planet. Wild pink salmon is pole and troll caught with no added water, no oil, no filler. Safe Catch. Wild Pacific pink salmon tests every single fish for mercury at standards stricter than the FDA requires. You're getting roughly 25 grams of protein per serving, meaningful EPA and DHA omega-3s, vitamin D, and that calcium most people are actively supplementing to find. The Amish purchased, rather than caught, their salmon. Most communities are landlocked, but it has been a documented pantry staple for protein variety since before most people's grandparents were born. Sardines are the food most people have never opened, and the food that delivers the most nutrition per dollar of anything in this entire video. 1 can of seasoned brand sardines in olive oil, packed in Portugal, a tradition going back further than Amish canning itself, contains 190 calories, 22 grams of protein, approximately 1,700 milligrams of omega-3 fatty acids and roughly 340% of the daily B12 requirement, under $3. Wild Planet also makes an excellent version in extra virgin olive oil. The honest pitch is simple. Sardines in olive oil on toast with mustard is an Amish-style working lunch that costs less than $2 and outperforms nutritionally almost everything a busy person eats at noon. The only reason most American pantries don't have them is cultural inertia, not evidence. Green beans are where the vegetable cellar starts, and in Amish households, they are canned in August by the case. Not 1 or 2 jars, cases. Green beans canned plain with pressure, or pickled as dilly beans with garlic and vinegar brine, or packed with a piece of cured pork for flavor. Del Monte no salt added cut. Green beans is the most available commercial version. Utah State University Extension research confirms that mineral content, iron, potassium, magnesium, is retained across the full shelf life of properly sealed canned vegetables. Vitamins C and K, folate, fiber, all present. Practical note, if you're buying standard sodium-added varieties, drain and rinse them. USDA research shows that draining alone reduces sodium by about 36%, and draining plus rinsing gets you to 41%. The Amish don't add salt because they don't have to. You can approximate that at home with 30 seconds of effort. Corn canned at peak August. Sweetness is not the same food as corn in a supermarket in February, and the difference is not subtle. Green Giant, whole kernel. Sweet corn, no salt added, and Del Monte whole kernel. Corn, no salt added. Both work. If you want the Amish version with character, Jake and Amos out of Myerstown, Pennsylvania makes a corn salsa, corn preserved with peppers and spices in traditional Amish fashion that ships directly from jakeandamos.com. Buy whole kernel over cream style for versatility. Whole kernel corn goes into soup, succotash, chowder, side dishes, and salads. Cream style goes into one thing. The Amish keep options. Pickled beets might be the most underestimated food in this entire list from a nutritional standpoint. The Amish have been putting them up in vinegar brine and water bath canning them since before Lancaster County had a main street. Reed's sliced pickled beets and Aunt Nellie's whole pickled beets are both nationally available. Jake and Amos does an Amish recipe version at regional markets. Here is what the beet supplement industry figured out and priced accordingly. Dietary nitrates from beetroot are associated in peer-reviewed literature published between 2012 and 2022 in journals, including the Journal of Nutrition with improved athletic endurance and measurable blood pressure reduction. The Amish were getting those nitrates in their vinegar brine at every meal long before anyone was selling beet capsules at $40 a bottle. The brine itself, by the way, is not waste. You can reuse it to pickle a batch of hard-boiled eggs. Lancaster County has been doing that for generations. They call them red beet eggs. It's worth trying. Canned tomatoes are where the science makes a turn that most people haven't heard, and it matters. Lycopene, the antioxidant that gives tomatoes their color and much of their health reputation, is significantly more bioavailable from canned tomatoes than from raw ones. That is not marketing language. That is peer-reviewed research published in multiple PubMed-indexed studies. The heat processing breaks down cell walls and disrupts the crystalline lycopene aggregates that make raw tomato lycopene hard for your body to absorb. USDA Food Data Central puts canned tomato puree at 54,385 micrograms of lycopene per cup. Fresh tomatoes packed in juice come in around 6,089 micrograms. The 2021 Nutrients Journal study confirmed the same effect for beta-carotene. The Amish figured this out by necessity. You can tomatoes when they're ripe because that is when they're available, and you use them all winter because that is when you need them. Food science confirmed the logic decades later. Muir Glen Organic Crushed Tomatoes uses a BPA-free can, USDA, organic California vine-ripened tomatoes. Eden Foods, crushed tomatoes comes in amber glass, free of BPA, BPS, and phthalates. Both are worth keeping by the case. Buy crushed for versatility. It works in everything. That is the protein foundation and the vegetable cellar. 9 foods that can carry a household through any season. Now we add the layer that makes it last for months instead of weeks. The beans that stretch every meal, the sweets that make the pantry feel like a home, and the 3 extender foods that turn a shelf of cans into an actual kitchen. The Amish don't keep one of each of these foods. They keep cases of them. That's the part most people miss when they think about traditional food storage. It's not the variety that defines the pantry, it's the depth. 1 jar of navy beans is a meal. 12 jars of navy beans is a winter. That distinction is the entire point of what comes next. Navy beans are the primary Amish legume, and navy bean soup is one of the most foundational dishes in the entire Pennsylvania Dutch tradition. The bean is small, mild, and extraordinarily dense in what matters, roughly 8 grams of protein and 8 grams of fiber per half cup serving, high folate, complex carbohydrates, iron, magnesium, and a low glycemic index that keeps energy stable across a long working day. Eden Foods, organic navy. Beans is the commercial option worth knowing by name for a specific reason. They are the only large-scale cannery in the United States that soaks their beans overnight before canning. No other commercial operation does this. The overnight soak reduces oligosaccharides, which are the compounds responsible for digestive discomfort, and it improves texture significantly. That process came out of home kitchen logic, which is exactly where Amish canning began. If Eden isn't available, Bush's Best Navy Beans is a solid alternative. Either way, drain and rinse. Sodium drops by up to 41% with that one step. Pinto beans are the caloric workhorse of the legume shelf. A half cup delivers roughly 9 grams of protein and 8 grams of fiber, and the polyphenol antioxidants that give pinto beans their mottled pattern survive the canning process intact. Eden Foods makes an organic pinto as well. Goya low sodium. Pinto beans is widely available and genuinely useful. Here is the practical argument for canned over dried that most people don't make clearly enough. Dried pinto beans last 25 years in proper storage, which sounds impressive until you realize they require an overnight soak and 2 hours of active cooking. Canned pinto beans are already cooked. They require no fuel, no planning, no waiting. For a household without reliable electricity, which describes every traditional Amish home, that distinction is not academic. It is the difference between dinner and no dinner. Take 1 can of pinto beans, 1 jar of Yoder's canned pork from Chapter 1, and 1 can of Muir Glen crushed tomatoes. That is a complete Amish-style meal requiring nothing else. Canned lentil soup closes the legume section and earns its place through sheer nutritional density. A single cup of lentil soup delivers approximately 18 grams of protein, about 6.6 milligrams of iron, which is 37% of the daily value, and more iron per serving than most cuts of beef, and folate at roughly 90% of the daily requirement. Lentils don't require soaking. They cook faster than any other legume. They are essentially zero fat. Amy's Organic Lentil Soup keeps the ingredient list clean and carries USDA organic certification. Progresso lentil soup is available at nearly every grocery store in the country. This is not backup food. Lentil soup is the food that has sustained more agricultural communities through more hard seasons than anything else on this list. The Amish understand that. 3 minutes from sealed can to a full hot meal with more iron than a steak is not an emergency option. It is a sensible lunch. Apple butter is where the pantry gets its soul. If you want to understand the Amish relationship with preserved food at its most cultural, most communal, and most unapologetically practical, apple butter is the answer. Every fall, Amish communities gather for what's called an apple butter bee. families working together across an entire day, cooking down hundreds of pounds of apples in large copper kettles over open fires, stirring constantly, reducing them slowly into a caramelized, spiced spread that concentrates natural sugars, pectin, and antioxidants, including quercetin, into every jar. No added preservatives. High sugar and high acid combined give it excellent natural shelf stability. Water bath canned apple butter keeps it peak quality for 1 to 2 years sealed and safely beyond that. It goes on bread, on biscuits, on pancakes, stirred into oatmeal, used as a glaze on pork. Jake and Amos Amish style apple butter ships directly from Myerstown, Pennsylvania in 19-ounce and 32-ounce glass jars, available at jakeandamos.com in 2-packs and 3-packs. S. Clyde Weaver in Lancaster makes a version with direct generational ties to the same tradition. Smucker's Natural Apple Butter is the national supermarket option. No high-fructose corn syrup, genuinely close to the traditional product. Apple butter has been on every Amish table for 200 years. It predates refrigeration, commercial preservatives, and grocery stores. It is still there today for the same reason. It works, it travels, it keeps, and it makes everything around it taste better. Canned peaches are the reward. Fresh peaches are available roughly 6 to 8 weeks per year, depending on where you live. Amish families eat peaches 12 months a year because they canned 150 jars in August. That is the entire logic of the Amish pantry condensed into one piece of fruit. The USDA purchased $25 million in canned peaches in 2022 specifically to support domestic canned fruit production. The same food these communities have been preserving for over 150 years. Nutritional profile: vitamin C partially retained through heat canning, potassium, vitamin A from beta-carotene, bi-packed in juice, not syrup. Del Monte no sugar, added sliced peaches in water, Dole sliced yellow cling peaches in 100% juice, Libby's sliced peaches in juice, all of them work. The calorie and sugar difference between syrup-packed and juice-packed peaches across a full year of consumption is not trivial. Read the label. It takes 4 seconds. Canned pears are the gentlest food in the Amish cellar. Mild enough for the youngest child, easy to digest for the oldest member of the household, nutritious enough to function as a real meal component and not just a garnish. Potassium, vitamin C, pectin, fiber. Del Monte. No sugar added halves. Pears in water, Dole sliced pears in 100% juice. Good and gather. Organic pear halves in juice at Target. Keep at least a case. Pears are the food you reach for when someone is sick, when appetite is low, when you need something that will be eaten without argument by anyone at the table. They work every time. Chow chow is the most distinctly Amish food in this entire video, and probably the one item most viewers have never encountered. It is a pickled mixed vegetable relish. Green beans, lima beans, corn, cabbage, peppers, carrots, and cauliflower combined in a sweet and sour vinegar brine and water bath canned. The origin is pure Amish practicality. Every late summer vegetable that didn't have enough quantity to justify its own jar got combined into chow chow. Nothing wasted, everything preserved. The vinegar brine delivers acetic acid, which supports gut microbiome health. The multi-vegetable profile delivers a range of vitamins and minerals from a single jar, low calorie, high flavor density, and it makes any plain meal feel complete. It is sold at every Amish farmers market in Lancaster County, Holmes County in Ohio, and Shipshewana in Indiana. Jake and Amos sells chow chow in 17-ounce and 34-ounce jars and ships directly nationwide. Mrs. Miller's homemade chow chow out of Fredericksburg, Ohio is available at Amish markets and online. Pennsylvania Dutch brand Chow Chow appears in regional grocery chains across the Northeast. This is the one food in this video that most American families have no equivalent of in their current pantry. There is nothing in the standard grocery store that does what Chow Chow does. One spoonful alongside beans or eggs or cured meat, and the whole plate becomes a meal. Order a jar before you finish watching. You will not regret it. Canned chicken broth and bone broth are the multiplier foods. Without broth, you are reheating canned beans. With broth, you are making soup. That is not a small distinction. The Amish produce bone broth continuously. Every chicken carcass, every beef bone, every ham bone goes into a stock pot and simmers for 12 to 24 hours before the resulting broth gets pressure canned and stored. That extended simmer time matters. It releases collagen breakdown products, glycine, proline, hydroxyproline from connective tissue, and it leaches minerals from the bones themselves, including calcium, magnesium, and phosphorus. Commercial short-cooked broths don't achieve the same mineral concentration. Kettle and fire chicken bone. Broth uses a 24-hour simmer process, no added hormones, and is shelf-stable for 2 years in carton form. Pacific Foods. Organic chicken bone broth is widely available. Swanson bone broth works as a grocery store fallback. Buy by the 12-pack. Every protein in cluster A and every bean in cluster C gets better when broth is the cooking liquid instead of water. Tomato paste closes this list, and it closes it correctly because it is the most concentrated, most shelf-efficient, most nutritionally dense form of the most important vegetable in the entire pantry. 1 6-ounce can of tomato paste replaces 3 to 4 cups of fresh tomatoes in any recipe. The USDA lycopene data puts canned tomato puree at 54,385 micrograms of lycopene per cup, and paste is the concentrated form of that same product, which means 1 tablespoon of tomato paste delivers more usable, bioavailable lycopene than a full cup of raw tomatoes. Muir-Glen organic tomato paste is BPA-free, USDA certified organic, and processed from California vine-ripened tomatoes within 8 hours of harvest, certified by the Washington State Department of Agriculture. Hunt's tomato paste. No salt added is the accessible supermarket option. A case of 24 6-ounce cans costs roughly $25 and contains the nutritional equivalent of hundreds of fresh tomatoes that would have cost $80 and lasted 4 days in your refrigerator. The Amish keep cases of tomato paste. That is not coincidence. That is the result of knowing which foods actually earn their shelf space. Here is what this list is actually telling you. The Amish pantry is not a collection of individual items sitting in a row. It is a system where each food multiplies the usefulness of everything beside it. The proteins need the broth, the beans need the pork, the tomatoes go into everything, the apple butter makes the bread worth eating, the chow chow makes the beans worth eating, the lentil soup is a complete meal in 3 minutes when nothing else is ready. Start buying 2 extra cans of each item on this list every time you shop. In 90 days, you will have the pantry infrastructure that an Amish household builds every September, not because you are preparing for disaster, but because that is how practical families have always eaten.